Well, hi there. I'd like to welcome you to the United Way television show. This is Living United with Small Business. My name is Mike Affelberg. I'm the host of the show. I also happen to be the president of the United Way of Greater Nashua, one of several United Ways serving the state. We happen to serve the Greater Nashua region, Nashua, Milford, Merrimack, Hudson, and the smaller 11 communities in our region. The premise of our show and what we want to talk with you about today is about small businesses, large businesses, really businesses of all sizes that are partners of ours and are engaged in the work of philanthropy, of doing something good in the community and trying to make a difference. My wife and I used to own a business, and we were always trying to find ways to make a difference. And we are very excited at United Way to have great partners like the one I'm going to introduce you to in a minute, who really are using their business to impactfully change Greater Nashua for the better. So with no further ado, I'd like to introduce my friend and colleague, Sal Kaludi. Sal, welcome to our show today.
Thank you for having me.
So you and your wife, Jen, have been owners of a business called Fully Promoted, which, my understanding, you produce screen printing, promotional products, embroidered apparel, uniforms for the community. Is that right?
Correct. Yep.
And how long have you guys been in business now?
So we opened up in September of 2015.
Okay.
Initially, it was in Nashua, and then we bought the existing Bedford location probably 6 months after we opened.
Yeah.
Had the two full-blown brick-and-mortar stores for about a year, and then in 2017 decided to consolidate them both together because they were so close to each other.
Sure, absolutely. No, that makes sense. Now, I know that the business originally came under the name of Embroid Me, which people still do know, I'm sure.
Yep.
But you've transitioned to a new name called Fully Promoted.
Correct.
What does that mean? What does that name mean to you?
Well, I guess let me ask you this question. If you heard the name Embroid Me, what would you think?
I think you're going to make me some embroidered shirts.
Right.
And that's about where I would stop.
That's about it. Right, exactly. So what Fully Promoted does, it encompasses everything that we do.
Okay.
As you mentioned, screen printing, promotional products, doing heat transfers on shirts. We even do business cards, signs, banners, lawn signs, stuff like that.
And as I understand it, also literally thousands of different types of promotional items like pens and cups and frisbees and sort of you name it, right?
We have access to almost 1 million different pieces of apparel and promotional products.
That's so
our
cool.
Network. Yeah.
What's the strangest thing you guys have ever made?
Ooh. Not sure if I could say this on air.
Well, what's the strangest thing you ever made that you can say on air? I mean, I will tell you, I know a couple of things you did. You helped us an awful lot during the pandemic with PPE.
Well, yes. So how that all came about was our promotional product suppliers, based overseas, when the pandemic hit, a lot of their business dried up. Mm-hmm. So they reached out to protective equipment suppliers, PPE,
right?
We're also based overseas, developed a relationship, and then our promotional product suppliers came back and said, hey, we can do PPE if you need it. So we did a lot of surgical masks, disposable gowns, hand sanitizer, which I know we did a lot with you.
You did a lot of hand sanitizer with us.
So that kind of bridged the gap for us. And, we were able to stay open at that point because we were considered an essential business to the community. And we were able to fill a void in the supply chain for those crucial 6 months where most hospitals, nursing homes couldn't get the supplies that they needed.
Yeah, I know I came to pick up hand sanitizer at one point during the pandemic, and I walked into your showroom, which is normally a showroom with clothing that you can use as examples, and it's got promotional items you can get different ideas from, and it wasn't that. It was basically a warehouse of face masks and hand sanitizers. It was
and
crazy.
Disposable gowns. Yeah, it was interesting times. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, I would say interesting times. None of us want to go through that again.
No.
But I gotta say, it was also pretty great. Because it challenged all of us to be creative and do different things.
Yeah, we had to reinvent our business.
Yeah.
We were able to do that.
And now no more of that. So you can't tell me what the weirdest thing is that you've ever done, but you can give us some ideas of some of the sort of oddities, things that you might not think of when you think. People think promotional items, they're always going to think of a pen or a mug, right? But there's lots of other stuff.
Oh, the sky's the limit, really, on what we can get a logo put on.
Yep. Okay. Well, that's great. And so I know that you guys have a great website where people can learn more about that. Yep. What is that?
FullyPromotedSNH.com, which stands for Southern New Hampshire.
Okay, yeah. Very good. Very good. Thank you. Well, congratulations on roughly, what, 5?
It's coming up on 7 years.
7 years
Next
in
month
business.
It'll be 7 years, yeah.
Congratulations to you and your lovely wife, Jen.
Thank you.
And you guys are just doing great stuff. I do want to talk about some of the great stuff you're doing that is the philanthropy, the giving back portion of what you do. You have been a great partner of ours, and I'm sure that you also support a lot of other nonprofit organizations.
We do.
Some of the ways in which you've been supporters of United Way, you've helped us with some of our events. Like last year, we had our Nashua Nor'easter, and I know that the planning team came to me and they said, we want a beanie. It's got to be a pom-pom beanie. Do we know somebody who can do a pom-pom beanie? I said, yes, of course I know somebody who can do a pom-pom beanie. He did an embroidered beanie, which was amazing.
Yep.
Far and away the most popular thing we've ever given away, I have to say.
Awesome.
People loved it. I think people signed up for the event just for the beanie.
Just for the beanie, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. I don't understand that entirely, but that was for sure.
Well, it's New England. We get snow anywhere from,
inches to yards.
October to April or May.
God, don't say October because I know we have cornhole. It can anytime after October 1st is okay with me. You've also done T-shirts for us, which is the screen printing side of your business.
Yep. We recently did the shirts for your
Over the Edge.
Yep.
Absolutely. And so that's one of the ways in which you've been so supportive is to help us to reduce the cost of purchasing those items, sort of partnering with us to donate those either, fully donate or at a reduced cost. Do you do a lot of work like that with other nonprofits?
We do. Yeah? Whether it be giving a discount or doing it at cost or an outright donation. Yeah, we do. Because we believe in giving back to the community. For me, I look at it as that's part of networking, getting your name out there.
Yeah. It certainly is.
Yeah. So it's been a great partnership.
The other thing that you do is you're also a sponsor of our radio show.
Yes.
So every Monday we have a radio show which has yourselves as sponsors. Franklin Savings Bank is one of our sponsors, as well as Etchstone Properties. So we run a small spot, and that helps us to pay for the radio time. So it gives you advertising and hopefully some name recognition, and it gives us some dollars to pay for commercial radio.
Yeah. No, that helps out.
So let me ask you this. For anybody who's listening and owns a small business, why, besides just out of the goodness of your heart, what's the business proposition for you? What benefits are there to you as a business for being philanthropically inclined, for giving back to the community?
From a business standpoint, and this would go for any business, is think about all the different companies that you currently work with. And for example, let's use the T-shirts for Over the Edge. A number of different sponsors, including ourselves, on the back of that shirt. So all those other sponsors that you have are looking at that, and if they might need something from us in the future, they might be thinking, oh, well, let's reach out to Fully Promoted.
So you might get business out of that.
Might get business out of it. Obviously, there's the philanthropic side of it, giving back to the community that we do business in. So.
Do you find that your customers care about doing business with businesses that care about the community?
Yes, and they also care about doing business, especially after the pandemic, of doing some business with someone local, and not an online company or anything like that. So they like the idea of the human interaction, face-to-face, especially coming in. And we have, as you mentioned, we have a showroom where people can come in and touch some samples, look and feel of the product that they're going to buy.
Yeah, that local touch and feel perspective, I mean, you can't really replace that. I mean, people can go online and buy everything these days, including, getting involved with philanthropy, right? Yeah. It's all there. But I do think you're right that people do appreciate that human-to-human interaction, the face-to-face interaction.
Yep. I'll never forget when we first opened, it was maybe 2 or 3 months into it, had a customer come in and started looking around our showroom and asked them if I can help them. And they said, flat out, why should I do business with you as opposed to an online company? I said, because if something goes wrong, this is the throat that you're going to choke. But I mean,
yeah, that hasn't happened yet.
No, no, it hasn't happened yet. But the reason why you work with us is, mistakes are going to happen. It's inevitable. Everyone's human. But it's how we fix those mistakes moving forward. Where if you went to, not to bash online companies, but if you went to an online company, you're not really sure who to call if you have an issue to get something fixed.
Well, that's absolutely true. How accessible are you guys? If somebody wants to call, like if somebody wants to get a quote or somebody has a question or something like that, they give you a call. That's one of the things about modern business that drives me crazy is just being able to get somebody on the line or get a call back or
Yes.
how do you guys approach that sort of customer service aspect?
We have a person that answers the phone, so you're dealing with a live person. And there's multiple ways. I mean, if someone wants to send us an email, if someone wants to go through our website and send a quote request through our portal, calling the store. So we're always accessible. And I have a policy in place that we want to get a quote in front of a customer, within 24 hours. And most of the time, if someone sends a request in the morning, by my noon, 1 o'clock, we're sending out a quote to them.
Yeah, well, I know that to be true because that's been the experience I've had as well, Sal. You guys are great at that.
Well, the simple fact of owning a business is you want to make sure that you're capturing that deal quickly.
Yeah, yeah. How many employees do you have?
So we have 5 currently.
Now, so one of the things I wanted to ask, and I ask everybody on this show, is about employees. And it's a tough labor market. We all know that. I think employment in New Hampshire is down, hovering right around 2% now, which is basically full employment, which means it's very hard for employers like yourselves to get employees who not maybe aren't even qualified, let alone just show up to work, right? Are you struggling with that, or have
we
you?
have been very fortunate. We've got a very tenured staff. Most of my employees have been with me for at least 2 years or longer. So they all started right before the pandemic or right around the pandemic.
Yeah.
And our staff has been great. A lot of that is, as a business owner, is how you treat your employees.
Yeah.
You want to make sure you're treating your customers well, but you also want to make sure you're treating your employees well, because they're the face of your business. I'm not always there at the store.
Right.
Case in point, I'm here right now with you.
Of course.
But I know things are running smoothly back at the store.
Yeah, and so you want to be sure that if somebody walks in to the store and you're not there, that they get the Sal Kaludi experience.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. I mean, my wife and I were on vacation the beginning of July, first week, and didn't have a worry in the world. I knew that the business was going to run smoothly. And
is that your first vacation since you started the business?
It's not, but it was the first where I didn't really have to worry too much about what was going on.
That's such a good feeling, right?
Yeah, it is. And I have a lot of faith in my employees that I wasn't always checking in on them and making sure everything was going well. I did maybe check in twice during the week, but it was more like, do you need anything from me?
Yeah. Yeah, I have that at United Way as well. I mean, I just know that if I'm not in the office and somebody calls, and they talk to Liz or Sarah or Samantha or Sharon, they're going to get the same experience as if they called and they talked to me, and they're going to be treated in the same way, and that's important. It's really important.
Another thing that I do is, I compensate my employees on the performance of the business. So they're vested in making sure that the business is successful. And I'm big into training, and I'm very transparent, with our numbers and where we're at.
Now, you're part of a nationwide network of businesses fully promoted, is
Correct.
that right?
Yep.
So do you also have comparative metrics around things like customer service and how do you know how you're doing compared to the rest of your network of fully promoted businesses?
So that's a great question, and I'm on the board of directors for franchise owners.
Okay.
I'm the treasurer of the board. One of the things that we implemented beginning of this year, and we're rolling it out, is utilizing a metrics called Net Promoter Score.
Okay.
And I've introduced that to you several years ago. In fact, you helped me with one of the questions that we recently added. And Net Promoter Score really measures how well you're doing as a business, creating raving fans of your customer base. So they go out and refer you to other potential customers. And it really is derived from one question. Would you recommend fully promoted to a friend or family member?
Mm-hmm.
And asking the question that way now puts your reputation on the line. Because
that's right.
now if I screw up, whoever you referred to me is going to be all over you.
I don't mind spending my money with you, but if I send my mama to you,
Yeah.
and you mess that up, well, I'm going to be in deep trouble, man.
So there are a number of businesses and companies out there that use Net Promoter Score as a metric for customer service. Business throughout different industries, different businesses, organizations, the average score is about a 55 because it's a very stringent
on
scoring
a scale
system.
of
10. So I guess let me explain this. So the scoring is based on a 10-point system.
yeah.
If you get graded a 9 or a 10, you get 100 points. 7 or an 8, you get 0 points. 6 all the way down to 0, you get negative 100.
Okay.
So then you add up all those points and divide it by the number of surveys. So 55 is considered, very good. We're actually at a 75.
Wow, that's incredible. That's really great.
And one of the things I preach to my employees all the time is, I'm not the one that pays them. It's the customers that come in the door. All I do is facilitate moving the money around.
Right, right. That's pretty great, and I think that gives you a great connection to your employees as well. Do you think your employees or employees in general care about whether their business, the business that they're working for, is also philanthropically inclined?
I believe so. Yeah. If you've got a good staff, they're going to want to make sure that they're working for a company that's got a good reputation.
Right.
In the market. And part of having a good reputation is, what the business does back to the community. The community that supports them.
Yeah, I think that's a missing point a lot of times for businesses is understanding, especially younger employees seem to be much more concerned about the corporate social responsibility, the reputational responsibilities of a business. Used to be, your generation, my generation, we're the same generation. I'm sorry to tell you that, but we are.
We are getting older, yes.
And it was like, the mentality was a little bit, go punch a clock, do your time, do your hard work, but it wasn't really, we really didn't care so much about necessarily the values of our company. And it seems like that's become much more of a important criteria for people, young people, when they're deciding, because they can decide, do I go work for Sal or do I go work for somebody else, right?
Yeah. Yep. No, that's very important. As far as the social values of a company, what they're bringing back to the community. And again, I'll go back to, what that employer is bringing back to their employees.
Yeah, I think that's such an interesting point. And I'm guessing as a franchise, you probably, as a network, you guys probably talk about that as well. What does it take to attract quality
employees and retain them?
Absolutely.
There's been dozens and dozens of studies done on how much it actually costs to recruit, hire, and train a new employee. And the cost is staggering, versus doing the right thing up front when you have a good employee to keep them on board and retain them.
And it's not just what you pay them.
No, it could be other things as far as, paid time off or anything like that.
Right. Of course, I work in the nonprofit world, so I can tell you it's not what we get paid. It's very important that that you feel good about the work you're doing.
I think employees want to feel vested in the business and that they're part of the team and what they do contributes to the success of the organization.
Yeah, absolutely. So now if you were to give advice to somebody who is looking to start up their own business these days, any kind of words of wisdom that you might throw out there?
You can't be afraid of sales and networking.
So what is networking? What is that about?
So we belong to 5 different chambers. We belong to a BNI group. And it's all about going out and getting to meet, and getting to know people, fellow business owners, other people in the business community. It's not when you're out, for example, at an after-hour chamber event. It's not necessarily I'm going there to make a sale that night.
Of course.
All right, that would be foolish. but it's really getting to know people that belong to the chambers and finding out, what their business is about, taking kind of an interest in what they do.
Yeah, I think that I go to a lot of the same networking events. And one of the things you can tell pretty quickly when somebody's not going to be successful in networking because they're talking an awful lot about themselves.
Yes.
And they're not asking, well, tell me about you.
Yeah.
What matters to you?
Yeah.
What's important to you?
The old saying, you've got
what can I do for
two
you?
ears and one mouth.
Yeah.
Just do more listening.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. My family reminds me of this adage, by the way, all the time, I may say. So thank you for sharing that, Sal. And I do appreciate that. You're also in the Rotary Club too, right?
We are. Yep. So
now, so Rotary, you say we are, but that's really more of a personal thing,
yeah,
right?
Exactly. I mean, my wife helps out a lot within Rotary. She's I guess an honorary member, you might want to say.
I can imagine.
So yeah, but we do a lot with the Rotary in the town that we live in.
Yeah. Okay, that's great. And you're in Merrimack, I believe.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Good. So, what's next for Fully Promoted? What is the next? Because you've built a great business. You've got a great client base. You guys have been on a good positive trajectory.
We have.
You've been through some rough times.
Yeah.
Not just starting up, but also this little global pandemic that we went through.
Yes.
But what's next? There must be something exciting on the horizon.
Yes. We've got our main location in Bedford, our sales office in Nashua. So, I've thought about possibly opening up other locations throughout the state, and kind of having like a hub and spoke model where Bedford is the hub, and then having small sales offices around the state feeding that hub.
So making more of the manufacturing side, making stuff, doing some of the embroidery, screen printing stuff, and then feeding out to that kind of network?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, that's exciting.
So it's a way to expand the business without having to be heavy with capital equipment.
Yeah, of course. Now, is there anything that you guys do which is like really unique locally as far as products that you might produce or that type of thing?
I mean, almost everything is kind of unique.
Yeah,
because it really is. A T-shirt is a custom T-shirt.
Yeah.
There's no order that is the same.
You used to do the garment printing. Do you guys still do that?
We've actually migrated more to heat transfers right now.
Okay.
All right, and there's some advantages of that.
So, but if I want a picture of my grandma on my T-shirt, you could do that?
We can do that.
Just for like one person?
Yep, we can do that.
But that's not ideal, right? You want to do that for like the whole group that's going on a cruise.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. Just because of the setup involved, we're doing one is the same setup that, same time and money that to do one shirt versus 100 shirts.
Yeah.
But there's a relatively new technology out there, direct to film, that I saw at one of our trade shows in Dallas earlier this year. And it is amazing. You can do gradation with it, multiple colors, small quantities, large quantities.
Okay.
So we're actually investing in a brand new heat press, a dual heat press, that will move the top part of the press over to a second platen, come down, press on the shirt while you're loading the shirt on the original platen.
Oh, so it's more productive then.
Yes, it should double our output.
That's great. And I know you have some pretty heavy-duty embroidery equipment as well,
We
right?
do, yep. 6-head, 4-head, single head.
Wow, that's great. So
it's not your grandmother's embroidery machines.
Is there anything that you just hate doing embroidery on? Like that you just
I wouldn't
don't love?
say hate, but hats are a bit of a challenge.
Yeah, I think people in this business say hats are a challenge.
Yeah, and you were in the industry for a while. I'm sure you would.
Yeah, I was not. I could actually do pretty well with hats, but I didn't have any employees that loved doing hats.
Yeah, it's a little time consuming. Plus, if they're doing more than one location.
Okay. Well, that's exciting. I'm thrilled to see that you guys are doing so well, and you've been such great partners at the same time. Yeah, I don't know that I have any other real questions, Sal. I think it's an amazing business that you guys have built there. And it's unique in that it's really the personal touch, right?
Well, it's unique from that standpoint, and we focus a lot on B2B business, business to business. And one of our mottos is we're in business to help you grow your business. And when you think about it, if someone's wearing branded apparel,
Yeah.
they're representing their company, and it gives that company some advertisement.
I know that I get questions all the time when I'm wearing my United Way shirt. I'm sure you get that with your fully promoted shirt. You might just be standing in the line at the supermarket and somebody will turn around and say, "Oh, what do you do? That's interesting. I've heard of you," you know.
So
Makes for a big conversation piece.
Yeah, one of my clients likes to tell a story, and he was in a BNI chapter with me. He was wearing his branded shirt, and he was in Home Depot, and someone came up to him and said, "Oh, you do X?" And he's like, "Yeah, let me have your card. I might have a job for you." So he didn't think anything of it, gave him his business card, turned into a $10,000 order simply because he was wearing his branded shirt.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's really amazing. And what sort of royalty did you get from that?
Well, we got the job on it.
There you go.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yep.
I think that's amazing.
So, yeah, and repeat business from that particular customer, which is very important to us.
Where can people find you?
We're located right off exit 13 in Bedford on the Upper Turnpike.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that's up in Bedford.
Yes.
Okay.
Then obviously online, fullypromotedsnh.com, or call us. Our phone number is 603-647-9994.
And I know you have a tagline, which I really like. It's "Just call Sal," right?
Just call Sal. Yeah, that actually came about several years ago at a home show. And it kind of just took legs of its own, and that's kind of the radio ad that we do with you.
I love that ad too. That's like every time I listen to that, I'm like, "Oh, just call Sal." Oh, that's me on the radio, on my own radio show.
Yes. Yep.
Well, Sal, I got to say we're out of time, but I want to thank you and Jen for being just great partners of ours.
Thank you.
Congratulations on building such an amazing business. It's
Thank you.
really, really excellent, and we could not be more proud to call you friends of United Way. So thank you, Sal.
Thank you.
Absolutely.